In today's show, we discuss what are the worst countries to visit for your skin colour.
And now, the TNT Talk Show, daring to go where other podcasts fear to tread.
Hello, I'm Tony Fasulo, and I share the stage with my esteemed friend and colleague, Tayo Boya. Tayo, hello, my friend, once again. I hope you keep it safe and well, and...
Yeah, what the hell, Tony? What are you going to do, eh? There you go. Hello, audience.
Hooray!
Thank you for joining us. I would just like to say that I received an email, some research that I received from the Secretary, Fathers Against Unplanned Liabilities and Toddlers, or FAULT, subscribing to the TNT Talk Show apparently, and this is what he says, results in up to 6% fewer condom failures. As the Secretary wisely put it in his email, every plug helps. I believe he was referring to condoms. Anyway. Still, please like and subscribe, and thank you for joining us today. May unpleasant liabilities and uncontrollable kids never dim your light.
I genuinely hope our wonderful audience are not actually put off by the shenanigans.
Well, I hope that they actually go and 6%. 6% is quite a good fillip, isn't it? Yeah, because if you have, it's all very well to have fun and games on Friday, but then a month later she says, I've got news for you. You should have subscribed to the TNT Talk Show. just hit the button, man.
Is that right? It makes you impotent if you listen.
What? Are you actually trying to sabotage the blooming show or what? So, I got a question for you.
For me,
what
okay.
Do you think, well, for everyone, what do you
Okay.
think the number one reason people use, what is the number one reason people use Chat GPT? Do you happen to know?
The number one reason for ChatGPT usage?
Yeah.
Is it to create a weird picture of themselves, or?
Nope. According to a report on the Indian news channel called First Post, which they got from somewhere or the other, the number one reason people use ChatGPT is as a therapist.
Oh.
And it's got the AI companies a little bit worried, because that's not what it's meant to be used for. But
Well, we were talking about it on previous shows, weren't we? Where you use it as solace, as a friend, as a companion.
well, as a friend is one thing, but as a therapist is something else.
Well,
Because it defaults to certain behavior patterns, and they don't expect you to be taking advice from the AI, because it just depends on how it works. It could actually work to validate. Is that the word I'm looking for? It could work to validate your, for example, depression.
yes.
It might
Yes.
go, yeah, you know what? You're right. With a life like yours, yeah, it's pretty crummy.
That's why you're not supposed to take advice. You can use it as reference, but hey.
Exactly. Exactly. This is why they're not pleased, and this is why I thought we'd just bring it up. And that's not what it's for, guys. Sorry.
Indeed. Okay, that's an interesting insight. I wasn't aware of that. I thought it was people doing funny memes, because they do, aren't they? There's loads of them. And I myself went and fell along the same bandwagon, but hey. But I didn't think that was the primary reason. I have used it for other things too. But hey, there we go. But anyway, to our wonderful audience out there, please continue to like, comment, and subscribe despite tires.
And ignore Tony's leads to impotence. What the hell, man? The exact opposite.
Indeed. Right, let's move on with today's topic. And this is actually one of yours. And this is, what are the worst countries for your skin colour? Now, why did you want to come up with this topic?
I came across a video of a woman who was in, of all places, Russia, saying that she had certain experiences, that she traveled. I think she travels for a living. For whatever she does, takes her to all sorts of countries all around the world. And as a single black woman, she has said that she has a lot of experience about where it's if you like, safe to be black and where it's not so safe and it's not a good idea. And I thought, yeah, that's not bad because my wife is someone who, if she could, would spend all her time traveling, and if I could, would spend all my time on the couch in front of TV. So we do have
Which
to.
is what you're doing.
Which is what I'm trying to get away with. But every now and then she comes and kicks me off and says, "Do something useful with my friend." And I'm very much of the opinion before I go anywhere, I'm going to really research the place I'm going to because it's not the same as being, in my opinion, it's not the same as being a white person or a Chinaman or whatever, where you can just sort of go where you like. I remember that when you and I were both in Toastmasters, we had a topic, and the topic was, which period of history would you like to go back to? And all the guys in our little, is it called a chapter? What's it called? A club chapter? What do we call
Club.
it?
It was the club, yeah.
All the guys in our club. Oh, I'd like to go back to this period or that period. And I was like, I don't want to go back to the past because it's all really good for black people in the past. Going to the future is fine. So skin color actually is, if you're not wearing that skin color, you don't think about such things. But I'm thinking to myself, I want to go to, I don't know, wherever, Zagreb, which is, where's Zagreb?
Croatia.
Yugoslavia, Croatia, isn't it?
Croatia.
Okay, well, I want to go to Zagreb, whatever. And you could say, okay, that's good. But what kind of experience am I, as a black person, going to have? Am I going to have people who don't want to give me a good table in the restaurants and things like that? It's different for us. And then I thought to myself, because I said, well, if I ask Tony this question, what's he going to be talking about? And then I thought, well, is it actually a universal truth that it's okay to be a white man or a white person, if you like, anywhere on the planet? And I can tell you straight away that I can think of one country where it's not such a good idea to be white, because although you're not unlike black people, you're not the target of discrimination. You are the target of criminality because they see white people as being wealthy. So
Privileged?
wealthy. He's got money. He's white. He's got money. He or she's got money. They're wealthy, and if they're not wealthy, their relatives are. So one country you definitely don't want to go if you're white, unless you absolutely have to. And if you do go, you should really, really know what you're doing. Is country of my birth, Nigeria.
Nigeria.
Very,
Really?
very super dodgy.
Isn't there a big white community there?
Well, there used to be, but they're not so much now. About, I don't know what it is now, maybe 6, 7, 10 years ago, all of a sudden, kidnapping became a business.
Oh, I see.
So
For exploitation.
Exploitation. You just can't. You can't just drive around. I mean, even coming from overseas. So me, Nigerian, black, going back to Nigeria, just because I've come from overseas, and now I suppose I've lost my Nigerian accent to some extent. I'm a target.
Right, so it's not
Always,
really your skin colour, it's your wealth perception.
it is the wealth perception, but as far as a lot of Nigerians are concerned, if you're white, you're wealthy
Right.
and sort of rich for the plucking, so to speak.
Yeah, interesting. Because my wife had to travel for work and she had to go to certain countries in the Americas, which is North and South. And yeah, even though some of the countries she visited were white, because she came from abroad, the foreign tourist, or even a work person, they do have a big sign on their head as a target. So it means an opportunity to exploit, to rob, to cheat, etc. So I get that. I get that. So it's not just skin color per
Mex-
se. It's to do with location and
you you were breaking up or something. You were glitching.
was I?
Very much so. You were glitching. I thought you'd stopped speaking.
Oh no,
Well, you
I'm
had.
still speaking. No, I didn't. I didn't. You didn't
You just
change at
froze.
all. Oh, did I? Oh, okay.
Yeah. So whatever you were saying, you need to start again. Something
Okay.
about they have you said thing on a
Oh
forehead. I
yeah,
think
a sign on
probably
people's heads. Yeah,
probably
as
back.
a
I think it's more traditional. You have a sign on your back.
well, okay, the sign on your back then that's making you a target. Let's be
Yes.
honest, and that target doesn't necessarily have to be based on your skin color, as you've alluded to. You go back to Nigeria because
Mm.
you're now in quotes foreign, as far as they're perceiving it. Then you could be an easier target. And like I said, my wife went to places in America, north and south, and she was the same color as the majority, but still she was vulnerable for that reason. So yeah, I suppose the color necessarily in if you're white may not be to do with your skin color, it's to do with your perceived wealth. Hence, for the people there, however, whatever demographic they happen to be, if they see anybody with perceived wealth, they're going to be a target anyway.
Yes, yes. So this is why it's a bit different for white people than it is for black people, because black people is not about the wealth thing; it's just the discrimination
Yeah.
against them. And this is what I was wondering about. And my perception has been turned through doing this bit of research, because I thought that Russia was fine. But when I asked, it would appear that Russia is not so good for black
No.
people. And I was really surprised by that. They do seem to have a problem, Eastern Europeans, with a bit of fascism over there. But since Russia
Yes.
is actually fighting fascists in Ukraine, I was like, that's kind of weird.
It's a little bit, yeah, it's a bit two faced in terms of what Russia are doing because they are very, very anti skin color. The whole of that region, less tolerant, let's put it that way, because they haven't historically had the integration that the Western Europeans have had. So maybe a generation or two, they will be more tolerant, but they've not. Yes, they've been what a generation and a half since the Berlin Wall came down and the fall of the Soviet Union. There's still not a lot of black, Asian, Indian people in Eastern Europe, predominantly. Yes, the other side of Russia is more mixed as far as skin color is concerned, but certainly the western part of Russia
Mm.
and the eastern part of Europe
Hmm.
certainly is not. So
See, it's
that's
very
a
peculiar
definite.
because the Russians, I mean, under the USSR, did quite a lot for black people in Africa. I mean, they did a lot of training. A lot of students went across to Moscow and learned and had basically free education and a good education in sciences and technology and so on and so forth. So it came as a bit of a surprise to me because I was just wondering, well, there's a real disconnect between, let's say, the governance of the place and then the everyday man, woman on the street. But they do say that it's. And then I've watched people. See, I've watched videos of people just running around in Russia. Not that many, maybe three black men, and they were saying it's fine. And they were in towns in the middle of nowhere. So I don't. It's a bit strange.
They
I
do
mean,
get looked at more,
well,
having
yeah, I used to
experienced
get.
it.
I used to get looked at a lot. You know, when I was here in the 70s, I used to be the only black person on the street. People don't realize that I was the only black person on the street. I was the only black person in my school, for goodness sakes. So,
Well, I remember being on a in a mixed school, and we were pretty much 50-50 white, black, Asian, all mixed, yeah? So white people and the rest, it made a 50-50 split, let's put it that way. And I remember going to a rugby tour in Wales. And obviously our rugby team was made up of half black, half white. And we worked really well. But when we got to Wales, they were singled out. And this is when I was young, because they didn't have many black people in Wales. Because we were in some weirdy place. It wasn't your normal holiday place or anything like that, where you're more likely to encounter. It was a back and beyond. I can't even remember exactly where it was, but we were doing a rugby tour and we had sheep on the field and, things like that. And yeah, it was very surreal, very odd for the guys. I felt sorry for them because it was almost blatant. People walking down the street, when we were walking down the street, I remember we're just teenagers at this point, and we're walking down the street, a whole group of us, and people just stopping and staring because our group was mixed. And it was unheard of over there at the time, which is very strange. So I can see it.
Should I tell you something?
Yep.
Maybe because of my height, because I was 6'4" at the time. So I grew to be 6'4" in my late teens. So with that height, and with what some people would call arrogance, which is untrue, it's a different kind of humility that I have, you see.
Go on. Is there a new term there? Anti-humility? Is that what you have?
No. I just call it atypical humility. It's just just because of my strange kind of sense of humility. I enjoyed it. I not enjoyed it, but hey, I could use it. You're looking at me. I could puff my chest out and just swagger a bit and be And yeah, thank you for the attention. And when I
some people will be intimidated by the attention.
Not me. So when I returned in 2005, and then all these other black people here, just like, hey, what the hell, man? And when I used to be on the train and people would sort of move out of the way, I had what I used to call sort of black first class. Everywhere I went, people gave me space.
Oh, come on.
And then seriously, and then now you get onto a train and people are actually actively telling you, do you mind scooching up so I can see? And it's like, what the actual, man? And I feel offended. Well, I used to. I mean, I got used to it eventually. But initially, I was like, oh, yeah, what the hell is with this guy, Where's my black privilege? What the hell?
Oh, dear.
So you can definitely get to you can use these things. But I wasn't being attacked or anything. No. Like that. Once I was canoeing, and someone shouted out the N-word to me.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the rest of the rugby team were
just over there.
And I had to sort of hurry up and say, no, it's okay, people learn, that sort of thing.
Yeah,
because I don't think he was shouting stuff out like that after that.
No, not surprised. Right, did you know that there is a global discrimination and racial equality index?
You see, Tony, this is the honest truth, okay? I'm going to be honest with you and everyone. If I had done the research properly, I'll probably have come across that. But I was stuck setting up this blooming microphone all freaking day, man.
Yes,
Tony kept on whinging on about his microphone. Oh. Yeah, microphone, the sound. So, 3 o'clock, this is 8 o'clock at night. And anyway, so no, the answer to your question is no. And I should do, and I admit that, unfortunately. So, yeah,
okay.
I kind of...
Well, I'll explain it.
Okay.
It's ranking based on numbers. So the lower the well, if you're 1, you're the worst. Let's put it that way, right?
Okay. Mm.
And you've got different numbers, and I'll give you just a selection of some. And the worst country, strangely, is Iran.
Iran,
yeah, because they also they have minority repression. So it doesn't have to be colour of the skin. It also is sect and different groups within the society. So if your face doesn't fit, not necessarily the colour of your skin, if you belong to a clan or a sect or something like that, then you are marginalised. And Iran tops that list because they've got minorities within the society called Baluchi and Kurds. And they are treated different to the main...
Persians.
Yes,
Persians.
the main
The
ones.
Persians.
And
I'm very
they,
surprised because a lot of Nigerian Muslims go to Iran to study. The Shia Muslims in Nigeria, they go to Iran to study, and I never heard a bad word about them.
no, because they're Shia.
So it's not a skin thing.
No, I said it
Sect
wasn't.
thing.
Yeah, it's a sect, yeah.
Okay, but
So-
the topic is actually a skin thing.
I
so-
know, but the offenders in terms of intolerance, and intolerance takes many forms. We're covering skin colour specifically because that's the topic of the show, but the way that the scales work, as far as these this global discrimination index, isn't just based on skin colour. It's your racial profiling. So you could even be the same colour as your neighbours, but racially you're different, and so you're treated different, and that's where the thing comes from. So skin colour isn't always the driver. It's also your sect. So you could even be a similar skin colour. I mean, look at in India, for instance, they have the caste system, don't they? Where
Oh, no, they have, apart from the caste system, they've got colorism.
well,
So,
yes.
yes, they're actually colorists, which
Yes.
is not a word, I didn't even know that word existed. And yeah, the darker your skin, the more you're looked down upon.
Yeah, which is terrible.
And so they've got this industry, apparently a multi-billion-dollar industry, which also affects many parts of Africa, where you've got people use, especially women, use skin lightening cream.
Yeah,
But they wouldn't use it if men weren't attracted to lighter-skinned women. And I've never understood the attraction of lighter skinned women. Skin is skin, whatever it is. I don't really care. So I know of some of my friends. If they see now what we call in Nigeria a half caste, and here I believe that term is
can't
derogatory.
use it
but it's-
anymore. Yeah.
Well,
What do you have to
can use
say?
it in
What do you
Nigeria.
use? What do you use
Mixed
now?
race.
Mixed race.
Mixed-
You can't
mixed
even
race,
say
but-
coloured anymore, can you?
That's in America. We never said coloured.
Okay.
But
So
I
you have
did
to
in,
say mixed race.
and I think they still do in South Africa. It's coloured means the Asians and people like that, I think. Not
Right.
blacks. So you had blacks, coloureds, and then whites. But in Nigeria, we still say half caste. I mean, we'll always say half caste because it wasn't derogatory. It was
Right.
an actual unknowing, ignorant use of caste, of the word caste.
Right. I
So,
see.
we just heard people say, oh, she's half caste. And well, okay, he's half caste. And it didn't mean anything. It was just an expression. It's just a description. And if you said mixed race, people were like, huh? What?
Yeah.
But over here, it's a problem. That the caste, the what we call the half caste, or what we call the mixed race in Nigeria, they've automatically got a certain amount of beauty points just because of the color of their skin. And
see.
there are some native tribes, especially the Fulani of the north, who are sort of, I don't want to call them Berbers because they're supposed to be insulted if I said they were Berbers or something, but they're a separate ethnicity, and they're lighter skinned.
Okay.
And also they happen to be the dominant, well, they conquered the Hausa of the north, and the Hausa are darker skinned, so they conquered them, and so they still got I mean, this was like before even the British showed up.
Oh,
So
right.
this has been going on for quite a long time. They've been dominating the Hausa, and the Hausa, which is insane. There are so many times more the population of the Fulani that you'd have thought that by now they'd be like, yeah, that was yesterday, pal.
Yeah.
Today, no. A bit like,
South
Haiti.
Africa.
Hey, no, Haiti or Haiti. How do you pronounce Haiti?
Haiti,
Haiti.
H-A-I-T-I, in
Yeah.
America. In
Well,
the,
near America,
well, yeah,
Haiti.
in the Caribbean area, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Look, their leaders, the people who led the slave revolt, they were the again mixed race ones because they were closer because a lot of them were the children of the slave owners.
Yeah.
All right, they led the slave revolt, so it's understandable why they led the slave revolt because they could organize it. They had a little bit more freedom, just enough freedom, so they could organize a slave revolt.
Yeah.
But after that, since then, they've been at the top of power, and they're a class unto themselves.
Wow.
And it's ridiculous because everybody else is dark skinned like me. It's just like you can just look at them and just go, guys, you're only like, whatever percent of the population. If you don't settle down, we'll come with our pitchforks and tie us famous pitchforks and forks and torches
Torches
and
and
explain the
pitchforks.
matter to you one of these nights. And
So what is it?
and
Do the people? I mean, I'm not an expert in Haiti at all. So do the people somehow just accept it because these
no, no,
people are?
it just bothers me. I can't understand it. It's just like, why would that be the case? Why would you even care what someone's skin color was? So if a black person, no, not one single dark skinned person ever stood up and said anything sensible and said, okay, I'm going to vote for this guy. You have to keep voting for the same old. Not you feel? Fela Ransome Kuti. You remember a Nigerian singer called Fela Kuti?
No.
A very famous gentleman, Fela Kuti. He had he wrote a famous song. It was called, oh my God, what's it called? Anyway, it was Colonial Mentality. That's not the name of the song. He was thinking, he came up with this phrase, colonial mentality. And colonial mentality was what I suppose Americans call slave mentality.
Right.
You can't see parts. Like, why are you still selling our oil? Why can't
Yeah.
we develop our oil ourselves?
Yes.
Even Russia was making fun of it. President Putin was making fun of Russia.
I
He said,
know. Nigeria. Use Nigeria as an example
of a stupid,
of poor decision making.
poor
Yeah.
decision making. What the hell are you getting other people to dig your oil off? It's your oil. I mean, it's actually corruption in Nigeria's case, to be honest.
I mean, going back to the Eastern European side when we were saying about their viewpoint as regard to black or dark skinned people, they have still got a little bit of the mentality of pre Berlin Wall coming down. So
Who's
the
this?
Russian environment, yeah.
Sorry,
So
who? What are we talking about?
we're talking Eastern Europe, the countries in Eastern Europe, and in particular Russia as well, because they're still adopting some of the policies and philosophies of that era. It hasn't gone yet. I mean, there's, it's well known within Eastern Europe about the Romani group of people. They've really mistreated the community in Eastern Europe. So, they're viewed on negatively, they're harassed, they don't get the same benefits as everybody else, and they're treated quite poorly. And it's quite a shame because they've still got this mentality as if these are lesser humans based on their skin colour. And
There's something very wrong about it too. Sorry to interrupt. There's something very wrong about it. It's ironic that is happening there. Do you know what race they are? The Eastern Europeans as far as going up from, say, I don't know, Poland and like that towards Russia and the western parts of Russia. Do you happen to know their race?
the race.
What race are they? They're not Caucasians. They're what? Do you know?
I probably do know, but I can't off the top of my head. I can't.
They're
think.
Slavs.
Slavs. That's it. Yeah.
They're Slavs. And do you know what word Slav led to?
Go on.
Slave.
No.
That's where you get slave from. The Slavs.
Interesting.
So Western Europeans raided Ukraine, the borderlands, and the Turks and the Western Europeans used to get their slaves there, especially the Turks.
Interesting. Okay. I didn't know that. That's interesting. That's what we always learn on the TNT talk show, something new. Right, do you want me to carry on with my index score on the Global Discrimination and Racial Equity Index?
Well, so you've got Iran, which surprised
Iran
me.
is number one. Yeah.
I'm very surprised not America, but go on.
Well, right, I've got a thing about America. America actually not on this list.
What?
They're not on this list because I've only got
That's...
the top 7. America are on the list. But,
anyway,
yeah.
I'll listen to it, but that can't be right. Sure.
No, well, the reason being, there is a reason for that, by the way. But I'll give you what happens here. A lot of these countries, the discrimination happens, but the people do not have the voice in order to gripe about it. America has the discrimination, but there are plenty of people who gripe about it. That's the difference. And so the fact that you can gripe about it means that your score is higher. So you're off the chart. Even though it happens.
Right.
You with me? So it's the fact that you can complain about it that gives the country a better score. Whether anything happens is another matter entirely. But the fact that you can
complain all you want.
Yeah, you can complain. Oh, but you can complain. I'm being racially abused. Well, okay, complain. And you can complain. Anything get done? No. Well, you complained. And that's the argument that they have. So that's why they actually have a lot of racial discrimination in the States, but they allow people to complain about it. And that's the difference. But these countries that I'm going to list now in 1 to 7 order do not, by and large, have the ability to complain about the discrimination that they face. That's the difference.
In that case, it can't even be Iran. It should have been Israel.
Israel's on this list.
But it should be number 1, because,
Well, at the moment, when this list was done, which was 2025, they were number 7.
Okay, let me hear the rest.
Number 1 was Iran, the worst. Number 2 was Myanmar. They deny citizenship to ethnic minorities, and there's violent conflict against different races within Myanmar.
I forgot the name of the people that they don't like. In the northern part of the country, isn't it? They've got this problem with this ethnic people there. Yeah, I've forgotten what the name of the.
Yeah. Number 3 was Sudan, because
before the civil war,
active ethnic cleansing, and there's a whole lot of high racial violence depending on where you are within the country's borders, etc. Number 4, Belarus. Again, Belarus near Russia. Systematic harassment of Roma and Polish minorities. Polish, yes. There's a big group of Polish minorities because they border Poland.
Yeah, I know.
I know.
I'm really surprised that...
Well, think about it. A lot of people make their home in a location, and even though they're being persecuted, they don't want to leave. It's their home. They get so it's not stuck.
Attached.
Yeah, attached to their land, even if the land is poor. They have this fear of the grass isn't greener on the other side. But you don't even know until you've tried. That's half the battle.
I'm really surprised that it's not something they couldn't work out amongst themselves. And it's getting a bit worse in the Baltic states anyway, with what the Baltic states are doing to the ethnic Russians there.
I know, both sides. It's poor. I don't know if we get an up-to-date version of this, how it would change. Probably. Number 5, Bahrain.
Bahrain.
Yeah, Bahrain. They have a lot of Indian.
I know what
Pakistan.
it is. And also, they've got a Shia majority, but a Sunni minority leadership. So there has to be a lot of suppression. Otherwise, they wouldn't be there. And it looks as if this Iran war is going to settle that, because one of the things that Iran is saying, as I understand it, is that they will be visiting Bahrain after this war to explain the matter to the sheikh over there, and that's not going to go well for him. And I think they even want to blow up the bridges. And they say, why don't you blow up the bridges? That connects Bahrain to Saudi Arabia.
Saudi
And I think the IRGC, which is the Islamic
Revolutionary Guards
Guards
Corps.
Council, or Corps, is it?
Corp.
Guards Corps of Iran, are like, those bridges come in handy when we go to explain ourselves. They'll come in really handy. We're not going to bring.
Make
So,
it
yeah.
difficult, yeah. No, but the
Make it
point,
difficult.
the reason Bahrain is bad, when they have workers coming over, the workers are non-citizens, so they have no rights. They literally have no rights. They might as well be slaves. And that's what's really bad. If you go there to visit as a tourist, it's okay. But if you go there as a migrant looking for work, you are a non-citizen, so you have basically no legal protections at all. So you are really mistreated. And there's horror stories about migrants, particularly from India and Pakistan, going into the Middle East for work and literally being treated as slaves.
Yes. I think even in the UAE, surely.
Yeah, UAE included. Yeah, UAE, Bahrain, Qatar, all of them, because they've grown very quickly, relatively, and they've needed a lot of workforce, and they haven't got their own workforce, so they wanted them from abroad. But obviously, they wanted slaves rather than workforce, and they treat them accordingly. So yeah. Anyway, that's Bahrain at fifth. Russia, sixth, which we've spoken about. There is social hostility and xenophobia with non-white. But in fact, it's not just non-white. It's also certain white people that aren't Slavs, as you said. That's true. They're suspicious of everyone still. And Israel is number seven. They have high discrimination to it doesn't matter about the skin colour. It's again the sect and the religion that someone has, ethnicity, religion, and then they are treated terribly. So they are currently number seven in this list. But I dare say, if this was updated, these countries would change.
I'm really surprised. Are you sure you don't have it the other way around? And that number seven is the worst and number one is the least worst? Because that would make more sense. If you go Israel, Russia, blah, 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 you go down, I can understand that. I really can't understand Iran being number one worst and then feeding out to Israel. I mean, that's really peculiar.
Now that you've said that, I'm trying to read this. It says lower score equals higher intolerance.
Well,
So
that's what you said in
rank
the beginning.
worst is better, yes. So worst is better. What worst to better?
Worst is better.
No, worst to better. So
Oh,
worst
worst to
is
better.
one. Yeah, so
Okay.
it is right. As far as that's concerned, 1 to 7.
Very
And
peculiar.
as part of the tolerance level, they actually have tolerant nations based on countries that adopted the official multiculturalism.
Hang on. Let's
policy.
not go there. We'll slow
Why?
some time because that's you just said your thing.
Okay.
I did do some researching.
Oh, you did? I thought you said you didn't. Hence, I was filling in the gaps.
No, I did some research. Research.
I see.
Yeah. So
I thought you
Let's
hadn't.
see.
My apologies.
okay. So here we go. I want to point out the interesting ones because Russia surprised me by being number one. For instance, violent racist attacks and organized ultra-nationalist groups
Yeah.
have historically targeted black people.
I
Which
tell
on
you
behalf
what.
of black
I'll give an
people-
example. I'll give an example. Before the Russian-Ukraine conflict, football supporters from some of the toughest places in Europe did not want to play Russian teams because the fans of the Russians were the worst of the worst. They literally did not go for a scrap. They went to kill supporters of another team. Literally. Whereas most of Western Europe, when they have the rivalry in football, for instance, you're the other team, this team, we'll fight and we'll really go for it, right? Good old scrap and, really do us over. But they don't go to the level of killing Whereas the Russians are, come on, then they bring knives and machetes, and they literally are there for to the death, which freaks out a lot of the Western lot. Go, oi, it's only football, mate. We only want to beat each other up. So the Russians were, they've got that mentality that if you're supporting a football team, it's to the death. You know, it's ridiculous. So yeah,
I could imagine being, and someone's got a knife and go, what the fuck is the matter?
I'm gonna have to bleep that out now. We're going to watch football, not to have war.
What do you think you're doing? I don't know if you're looking for a different fight. This is the football. You might be in the wrong crowd, dude. Because I really don't know what the hell you're doing. I was like, no. Police? Seriously?
They're just wild.
What? Anyway, Russians. I had a Russian colleague. He was fabulous.
Yeah, they're lovely. Don't get me wrong, they're lovely people. I know 2 or 3 of them, and they're really, really nice. There's nothing wrong with them as people. Oh no!
Don't swap vodka shots with him is what I would say.
Oh no,
Seriously.
No. That's one thing never. And the vodka is it's evil stuff. Might as well be toilet water. It's disgusting, but it burns.
Oh God! Hardy race. Anyway, so there's Russia, which is what we've just said. Then followed by Ukraine. What do you see? Ukrainians. Do you know? Are you aware where the first capital of Russia was?
Wasn't it Kyiv?
Yeah, Kiev. Yeah, it was in Ukraine, and it was moved. So they're all pretty close to one another, although Ukrainian is a different language, which is a bit surprising to me. And
it's a little bit. Someone said to me, it's a little bit like England and Scotland.
Yes, indeed, it is. Indeed, it is. And then
But the
number
Scots
3.
don't like the English.
Well, they weren't treated very well. See, that's
go.
Proximity. England didn't treat its neighbours very well. I mean, what it did to the Irish is unbelievable. I mean, it's on a par with what's happening to the poor Palestinians today. It's on a par. It was really disgraceful. China is number 3. African students from China highlight overt discrimination, housing refusals, and racial targeting. But there's a limit to it, because I saw a video where some woman went too far. She said, "Oh, you're black. Yeah, I don't want to touch that because you touched it," and she foolishly uploaded it onto the social media there.
And WeChat, whatever it's called.
WeChat.
WeChat.
And she was done, basically. She had to, apologize and everything, and it was all taken very, very seriously. I think it's not something that should be too overt. I probably just, and then I've seen other videos where, again, a black woman just in the hinterland of China, and she says she has to schedule more time to get anywhere because the Chinese are always stopping her. Now, apparently, China, their idea of personal space isn't ours. So someone said that your personal space ends where your skin ends. And after that, it's everybody's space. So they have, and then they're very straightforward. There's no hanky-panky about it. They want to take a picture with you. They will come up to you. They will grab you. Hey, you're like, yeah, okay, can I please? There's nothing like that. Just like, yeah, smile. And you're trying to give a good impression. So you're under, and she says it just takes her a long time to get anywhere because everybody's coming on. They're touching her hair. It's like, you're like, you can't do that. That sort of thing, but they can.
They do.
And they're all very interested. And because they haven't seen I mean, and they don't have that kind of like filter. Where other people would have that. I am curious, but I got to respect your personal space. South
Strange
Korea.
about so talking about personal space. To digress slightly, did you know which race have one of the biggest personal spaces, or expect a personal space?
I'm going to guess the Japanese, but I'm not sure.
No, Norwegians. They
Norwegians.
believe that if you can reach your hand out, the tips of your fingers that's all your personal space. So no one is to come inside a circle
I
like
like
that.
that.
Yeah,
I like that. I like it. I didn't notice it when I was in Norway.
they do.
I
They
didn't
want
notice
the
it.
big personal space. That's why in
Ah,
buses and that they do not like to be clamped up.
ah.
Norwegians,
I knew there's
apparently.
a reason why I like Norway.
Mm.
South Korea. Strong ethnic homogeneity and social conservatism translate to open staring, exclusion, and employment barriers. They're
Okay.
not going to hire you. And then, of course,
They
good old
don't hire
Japan.
you if you're not South Korean.
Yeah.
What about if you're white?
Oh, it just says, I think this, well, I did ask for
Applies to
black people.
both?
I'll have to find out. I can't tell you now. I'll have
Okay,
to
that's
find out.
interesting.
But they do skin lightening, so I suppose maybe not.
Oh, okay.
And then Japan. Reason I like Japan is that they don't like anybody.
No, they don't.
They're just like, yeah, it's like, your country's actually dying, man. You gotta.
No, I
It's
know.
like,
They don't want to open the borders, do
they
they?
want to open it, your country's dying, literally dying. Villages are empty now. No one in the village. 3 people left, and when they're gone, that's the end of the village.
Yep. Because they
Anyway,
just
well,
don't. The birth rate is through the floor. No one is
yep.
having kids. Everyone's going to the cities, and everyone is left behind. And they don't want to introduce, because most of the people don't want it. They don't want to introduce foreigners into the workforce because they feel that it's going to dilute their Japaneseness.
Yes, the culture. They don't even want the Koreans because Koreans are when they
Struggling too.
conquered. Yeah, no, I mean the Koreans, the Japanese conquered the Koreans, and you'd have thought that they'd be able to get along if the Koreans are willing to forgive and forget and to go and work in Japan. It should be a slam dunk. You look reasonably the same. I mean, I may be wrong because if you're not a member of the race, sometimes you can't see the differences. What is apparent to me between 2 black people may not is often not apparent to my white friends. They can't tell the difference. I'm like,
Right.
yeah, no, that's Hausa. This is Yoruba. It's easy. And they're like, huh? So it could be that, but to me they look reasonably the same. And surely, if you assimilate them in 100 years or so, no one will even know.
Well,
Really.
you can say that about the whole planet Earth, can't you?
Well, I do know that the very interesting what happened to the slaves in Scotland is that they were assimilated, and you can't you you don't have any black people historically in Scotland, but they were assimilated,
Hmm.
and it's no longer visible in the population there.
Okay. Now, I want to digress ever so slightly, but still.
Italy, your place, is the
Yeah.
place. Italy, Southern Europe has visible issues with racism in
Yep.
football culture and street level harassment, particularly toward black men. So what's all that about, Tony?
They're just. I think part of it is to do with what I'm going to lead on to. Have you heard of replacement theory?
No.
Right. This is something that's currently rising in Europe, particularly in Italy and France. And so it's challenging the traditional tolerance, and it's being challenged by the far right politics. They're trying to make gains. And what replacement theory is, it all started from a French author called Renaud Camus, who wrote the book Le Grand Replacement. And he argued that the replacist elites were using mass migration and declining white birth rates to create a replaceable human. This is someone who hasn't a specific nationality or real ethnic identity, who is easier for global corporations to control and move around. So you no longer have someone who has national identity. They're just a human. They are versatile, flexible, can work anywhere, can go anywhere. And so this has created this conspiracy called the replacement theory, where the people are being fed information which is saying a shadowy global elite are out there to replace white ethnic Europeans with non-white immigrants. And this is the replacement theory. And a lot of the populist parties are using this as a way of gaining popularity in the respective country. So they're creating an agenda based on people's ethnicity to create divisions and say, look, those people are coming here. They're taking you. They're not actually taking your jobs. They're replacing you. And so this fear it's a psychological fear put in people's minds so that they become even more intolerant to people who don't look like them. And it's not a good place to be.
I didn't know it was called that. I would say, by the way, that chap you mentioned, Renault.
Yep.
Renault. This catches out a lot of people, and this is the TNT talk show, so we're going to help you guys out. It's actually pronounced Camus.
Yeah.
It's pronounced Camus.
Oh, Camus.
You don't
Don't
pronounce
say
the
the
S.
S. Okay.
S.
My French is not good, so
Yeah.
Renault Camus, but spelt
I
with
don't know why
Camus.
One day, when I die and I stand in front of God, one of my very first questions is going to be, why is French spelling like that?
No. English spelling is worse. We've had this conversation before.
Well, I just don't understand. And even the guy that you and I both find funny, even he was caught out with Heme, was it Hermes, and he said Hermes.
Oh yes.
The fashion house, Hermes.
Yes.
Well, the E is inflected, so it's Hermes. So, okay. And I got called a long time ago. I'll say this very quickly. I used to say Yves Saint Laurent.
Yves.
And Yves Saint Laurent. And then one of my more pretentious friends, love. It's actually Yves Saint Laurent. Okay. So anyway, as I was saying, Yves Saint Laurent. Tire doubles down, baby, man. It's not my problem. Anyway, yeah, I didn't know it was called replacement theory, but until now, I thought that George Soros was behind it. But I'm looking it up, and apparently, it's a false claim, and it's got nothing to do with.
No, everything dodgy. It always goes back to George Soros. He seems to be the instigator of all conspiracies and weird
all conspiracy
stories.
Theories. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm really surprised. So I've learned something that I'll have to look into that.
Yeah.
Or maybe he's just sponsored whoever wrote this piece and said it's not him because he's got that kind of money, hasn't he? He's not even the richest man in the world any longer, is he? So,
Soros, no.
No.
I mean, this if you want to, it's referred to sometimes in some online channels as GRT, Great Replacement Theory, GRT. So look out for that. And it's
sorry.
Go on.
Go on. No, go on.
Well, the thing about this, it's populist regimes are jumping on it because Europe recently let in a lot of migrants from the conflict in Syria. This is where this came about, and there were a lot of people displaced, obviously, for troubles in the Middle East already once, and we'll probably get another influx very soon again. So they came into Europe. Europe was accommodating, took them in, and this is what this subplot then started to gain traction. And European leaders were blamed for, the influx of people from Syria and not integrating them. That's the challenge. If you're willing to let them in, you must integrate them. You must put the things in place to integrate them into your society straight away, so that they become part of your society, not a separate wing which does its own thing, and then it creates these sorts of tensions in the general population, which has happened across Europe.
Interesting. So I looked up, well, where is it not so great to be a white person? And number one, South Africa.
Yep.
High violent crime rates affects everyone, but white farmers and homeowners have been specifically targeted in some areas. So that's like a
Well,
historical beef.
did you hear the spate about the ATM machines
No.
in South Africa? They a lot of white people, because they were deemed affluent, ATM machines introduced fingerprint, so they identify people. And so there was a spate of white people losing their index fingers near ATM machines, because people thought, oh great, I can chop their finger off and get all their money out, not understanding that the machines operate with hot finger. It's a level 5 check, so you can't just cut a finger off and make it work. That's in the comics and the movies. It doesn't work that way.
Surely you can just leave it in your pocket or something then.
What, the finger?
Or underneath your armpit or something. You keep it nice and body
It's
temperature.
not just that. It's also a pulse in the finger that it works upon. So as soon... So there was a spate of fingers that were near some
Can you imagine
ATM
losing your finger?
machines.
You say, well, I suppose what you could do is bring those Russians across and say, okay, you and the finger cutting off guy, why don't you guys sort it out between one another? Ridiculous.
I know.
Anyway, South Africa. Haiti is the second one.
For
Extreme
white people,
instability means white foreigners are highly visible and at elevated risk of kidnapping and targeted crime. Venezuela, Nigeria, Pakistan. Foreigners can attract suspicion or hostility in some areas alongside elevated security risks. This, I believe, has something to do more with their religious sensibilities and things rather than anything else, but I might be wrong. Afghanistan,
Yeah.
Somalia, Iraq, Saudi Arabia surprised me.
Oh,
Not violence, but cultural and legal restrictions that create friction. Westerners feel socially constrained and extra scrutinized. And finally, Japan. Not dangerous, but social exclusion exists. Being
Okay.
an outsider means difficulty integrating long term. So that's
strange that, because there's some places where you've got black expats going, and these are the tolerant nations. And some of the best countries in the world, apparently, are Denmark, Canada, and New Zealand. And they have quite a lot of black expats that go to these places. But what the expats have said, that while they're not feeling unsafe, they face difficulty fitting in. That's what the challenge they've discovered, because a lot of the black people who've gone to Denmark, for instance, have complained that unless they adopt a strictly Danish culture, they get excluded. Not directly, but they don't get invitations. They just don't fit in.
I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I suppose that. I think that there's nothing. I don't like this idea of multiculturalism. You go to a country, you can't go there and change the blooming culture, man. You got to go there, you got to fit in.
You got to embrace it. You're there as a guest. You fit
Exactly.
in. I do agree.
I expect them to come to Nigeria and fit in. I don't expect them to come to Nigeria and try to set up their own little thing there. It's like, what are you doing? Same thing here. Come to England, you have to toe the party line and adopt a British lifestyle. And if you don't like it, then don't come here. So No, I don't think that there's anything wrong. Where I feel it's wrong is when you try to fit in, but you're excluded anyway.
That's different. Yeah, that's a
That's
different.
yes,
That's part of what we're discussing here, where there's places that you just can't be allowed to fit in because
precisely. They won't let you
they
in.
won't let you. But these places are not excluding people, but if you don't try and fit in, we will exclude you, if you know what I mean. So you're permitted to fit in. Come on, fit in. Do what we do. Oh, no, but I don't want to do what you do. Well, then you're not choosing to fit in, are you? And that's the problem that many countries have with integration. They want people to integrate, but bring their culture with them, but also integrate with the country you've just come to. So you do mix, and that's the ideal. So you still keep some of your original culture elements, but you still embrace the country you're in and adopt their customs, rituals, and language for sure. And those are almost like a requirement now. So if you think about it now, most countries are now adopting this. If you want to be a citizen in our country, you've got to be proficient in the language at the very least, and make sure that that is your starting point. If you can't speak the language, then sorry, you're only here temporarily. You got to go. And I think that isn't such a bad thing. I think it is
Yeah,
something that
I agree.
should be
I
brought in.
agree.
Blimey,
Now,
we've got to the top of the hour. You know, we're gonna have to
oh
summarise
yes.
very soon. Go on.
Oh, okay. You took it out from my. What was I
Your
gonna
flow.
say?
Sorry, you were going to say something really profound, really
I know.
exciting, really amazing.
I mean, you said something. You're supposed to.
Oh, only because I mentioned the top of the hour.
Yeah. I don't know what was something. No, it's gone.
It's gone.
Unfortunately.
Okay, give us a sum up then. What are your worst countries for your skin colour? Do you think it's a big problem, or is it getting better? Is it getting worse? What's your view?
It's really peculiar because a lot of the times you find that these horror stories have to do with what a certain person did in a certain place. So, for example, being drunk and unruly in certain areas in Russia, as in anywhere else, will probably attract negative attention. I'm not going to be drunk and unruly. And I think it's obvious just looking at me that I'm not a troublemaker. I'm not there to make trouble or anything like that. And I don't really think I get into trouble, to be honest. So it really boils down to, in a lot of cases, how you comport yourself. But some people don't know how to do that. They misbehave wherever they go. They get into trouble and then they blame it on, hey, racist, you want to. But if anyone else had behaved that way, they'd have been in trouble too.
Indeed.
So there's that. Now, I'm not going to just give everybody a blank check. You know, you're just minding your business and then a group of hooligans jumps in. Well, that's the problem. So, yeah, would I go to Russia? A lot of people just say you can. And there's a guy who's actually on YouTube, and he says if you want to come to Russia, you're worried about it, to get in touch. So then another guy in China, he's an Englishman, and he makes a lot of videos, and he says, look, you want to come to China and you want to really know about it, just write to me. I'll just write back and just give you, go here, don't go there. I mean, even, there are places that even you and I in England wouldn't go to.
Well, indeed.
So if you just stumble in there, it doesn't, not your skin color, you just took a wrong turn, man.
Yeah, you're not welcome there anyway. So yeah,
No.
yeah. Okay, we got to the top of the hour. If you've loved this episode, please hit subscribe and stay tuned for more deep dives into prophecies, mysteries, and the unexplained twists of fate. You've listened to Tony and Tayo. We are the TNT Talk Show, but unfortunately we have reached the end of the show for another week.